We're going to use some props today. A nice thick towel or blanket folded up would be very helpful. In fact, maybe even two of them. And perhaps a towel roll. We're going to be talking about tension in the neck, so I want to make sure that the head is well supported. We might also use a small ball if you have that. As you know from experience, I'm sure, exercise helps us release tension because it helps us to complete the stress cycle. When some perceived threat occurs, the body gets ready, and as you know, the fight or flight response gets activated. So, we have adrenaline, cortisol rushing through our systems, but our muscles get ready. And very often in the modern world, the stress response comes up and then nothing really happens. We don't actually fight or flee. So all of that tension is stored in the body. The interesting fact that I just learned is that specifically the neck, the jaw, and the hip flexors get activated when we're stressed and getting ready. And this makes sense, if you think of an animal getting ready to confront another animal, the face gets very tense, the jaw gets tense and ready to bite. The hip flexors get engaged because you're either ready to get into action or you're ready to run. So I have noticed in almost everybody I work with, there's tension in the neck and jaw and tension in the hip flexors. It's fairly universal because we're all living in this system where we get stressed and then the stress response does not get completed, and so the tension gets stored in the body. So we're going to work specifically on finding some release in the hips and the neck and the jaw, and I would say also the face. The facial muscles, as you know, get tense as well. So we're going to work there. What's interesting is that we have this response. The sense organs perceive some threat, give the message to the brain. The brain says, okay, body, get ready. Body gets ready and holds the tension, and then we're stuck there. And the brain keeps and then there's this feedback loop where the brain keeps getting the information, like there's a threat, I'm in this prepared stance, and this feedback loop continues and continues, and we can't get out of it. But we can get out of it. So one of the ways, there's this interesting dynamic is that, yes, the stress creates the response in the body, and we can also undo anxiety by releasing the stress in the body. So there's a two-way conversation going on at all times. So I would like to begin in constructive rest pose, and you might try taking a towel roll behind the neck. So given this idea that tension, particularly in the jaw, the neck, and the hip flexors, creates anxiety, let's be specifically mindful about how we can release those areas of tension. And one of those ways would be to have the head well supported and the neck in a good position when you're lying on your back. You can try working with a pillow or a nice firm support behind the head. Or you might also like to try taking a rolled up towel. And you may feel like you're comfortable without some support. I've introduced to some of you the idea of taking a swallow to see if there's a clear swallow. If the swallow feels constricted at all, that's a good sign to find a different position for your head. You might need to actually open up the throat, the front of the throat a little bit. You may need the head elevated. So find a place where your head is comfortable and your throat is clear for a swallow, and that's a good place to begin. This position where we lie on the back with the knees bent and the feet on the floor, the arms relaxed out at the sides, the neck comfortable, is called constructive rest pose. And that's because something constructive happens here. We need to begin to neutralize the body before we start moving and doing exercises. First, let's empty out some of the stored tension, which makes muscle patterns. Now, if lying here makes you feel tense in the front of your hip crease, you might try supporting your knees under a bolster. I really recommend using a couch or a chair that's just the right height so you can have a 90-degree angle at your hip and at your knee, and then you can relax the legs. So you might try supporting your legs on something. If you have a physio ball, you can rest them up on your legs up on the ball as well. That will perhaps let that ease out. But I'd like to be particularly aware of this hip crease, these superficial hip flexors, and see if we can find a way to have them release as we begin the practice. So hopefully by now we have the head and neck in a comfortable position, and the shoulders can relax. Now we're going to feel the back of the pelvis and the sacrum, and think of the sacrum and right in the middle of the back of the pelvis, just sinking down into the floor. As that softens, take your fingertips into the hip crease here and see what you observe. And we're going to see if we can find, to some degree, some softness and ease in here. So we're going to feel the feet on the floor, or if you have them supported up on a couch or some kind of surface, notice the feet. Feel the pelvis, and let the sacrum sink down at the back of the pelvis. Imagine it melting wide and just softening into the floor. Soften the belly for now. We're going to allow the lower back to be in whatever natural curve it takes. Imagine all of your vertebrae being drawn down towards the pull of gravity. This does not mean to flatten your back down, but just let the vertebrae fall towards the mat. Some parts of your spine will be in touch with the mat and some not. Notice the space between the shoulder blades. Broaden it, and if you need to move your arms a little wider and turn your palms up, do so. Please get the shoulder blades as flat and broad as you can and soften the shoulders down in that position. Feel the back of the head. Let it sink down into the floor. So we're going to be particularly mindful of the sacrum sinking down and the back of the head sinking down. Let the breath move softly. Continue to allow your bones to settle down into gravity's pull. Let your eyes close and feel the muscles of the face relax. Think of your eye sockets being very deep, and let the eyeballs drop down into the eye sockets. And breathe a little space between the eyebrows. Let the eyebrows melt down to the sides of the face. Breathe some space into the temple by the ear. Soften there. You could even imagine your breath coming in and out of the ears. Relax the jawbone and the joint where the jaw joins the skull. Soften inside the mouth. And check back with the sense of the neck. Take a swallow and see if you're in a relaxed, comfortable position. Now we're going to begin to add inner stability to this relaxed state. As we engage the inner core muscles, we want to be mindful that we're still staying relaxed in the hip crease and the neck and the jaw. So very specific where the effort takes place. Bringing our attention to the diamond of the pelvic floor, which is anchored to the tailbone, the sit bones, the pubic bone. Take an inhale and picture that diamond, and then without tension in the hips or the neck or the jaw, gently gather the diamond in towards the center. Engaging the pelvic floor, and then relax it. Soften that effort. Notice your sacrum sinking, your hips softening, your shoulders relaxing, the neck and jaw releasing. Do that again. Inhale, picture the diamond of the pelvic floor. And centering all of your effort and attention at the diamond of the pelvic floor, gather it in. Everything else staying passive and released. And then relax as you take your inhale. And release. Let your body sink down into gravity. Soften. Let the bones drop down and the muscles relax. One more time. Inhale, prepare for the diamond of the pelvic floor. And exhale, gather the diamond of the pelvic floor and shrink it in towards its center. Keep passive elsewhere in the body and maintain as you take your inhale. Keep the diamond shrinking inwards as you exhale. And then soften. Relax, and again let your bones settle into gravity. And if any tension came into the hips, the jaw, or the neck, soften. Now we'll go to the transversus. This is also very deep and subtle, and when we engage the transversus, we're thinking of it as a deep belt. Nothing else is going to get into the act. We're just keeping our effort specific to this idea of a nice, deep internal belt, which will hug around the center when we engage it. Take an inhale and picture the belt of the transversus. And as you exhale, gather it gently around. Start at your spine and let it come around the hips and buckle beneath the belly button. And then relax and soften. Give into gravity. Let everything have a chance to release, and then we'll do that again. Inhale, picture that belt. With the exhale, gently gather it around. And soften while you take your inhale. Relax into gravity. As you exhale, release. One more time. Inhale, picture the belt. And gently feel its support as you exhale. Gather it from the spine across the hips. And let it buckle beneath the navel. This time we'll keep that as we take the inhale. Keep that sense of gathering. Renew it as you take your exhale. Then relax. If any tension crept into the hips, the neck, or the jaw, release now. All right, combining those two efforts to make the complete inner core engagement. Finding stability around the center. More stability around the center means less tension in the periphery. Inhale, prepare for the inner core. Exhale, shrink the pelvic floor and gather that belt snug around your hips. Relax the shoulders. And then release. Soften. And give into gravity. Let everything relax down to the floor. And prepare again with the inhale. Picture the diamond, picture the belt. With the exhale, gently gather the diamond inwards and feel that belt snug around the hips. No excess tension. Keep the shoulders relaxed, the face soft, and then release everything as you inhale. And give into gravity. Exhale without any effort whatsoever. One more time. Inhale, prepare for the inner core. Exhale, gather the pelvic floor. Feel the belt of the transversus support around the hips, the lower back, the low belly. This time maintain as you take your inhale. Renew as you take your exhale. And then relax and soften. Okay, give into gravity for a moment. Check back with the hip crease. And we'll bring the arms down to the sides. So if your legs are elevated, you can still keep them up for this next exercise. We're just going to move the arms. With the inhale, I'm going to bring the arms up to vertical. Feel the humeral head drop down into the socket. Relax there for a moment. Want to drop that ball into the socket so that any work that we do with the arms is well supported. Take another inhale to prepare for the inner core. And as you exhale, gather the inner core in, and then start to reach your arms back towards the wall behind you, keeping the pelvis and lower back stable by use of that inner core. With your inhale, we're going to float the arms back up towards the ceiling. Feel the humeral heads drop into the sockets. And then as you exhale, we'll lower the arms down. And at the end of the exhale, we're going to let everything go. Release into gravity. Really important to do these releases because that gives the body an opportunity to overcome old patterns. We're resetting back into neutral, relaxed hips, relaxed neck and shoulders. Inhale and float the arms up towards the ceiling. Feel the humeral heads deep in the sockets. Exhale, gather the pelvic diamond in the belt of the transversus. Let your arms go back. Don't go too far. Make sure you're staying in contact with the lower core and your arms are just floating through space. Inhale, let them come back up. Humeral heads deep in the sockets and exhale the arms down to the sides. Soften in the neck and shoulders as the arms come down. Relax around the pelvic girdle and release completely. One more time. With inhale, we'll float the arms up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, gather the inner core and float the arms back. Don't have to go back too far. Stay nice and easy in the shoulder girdle. Remember, we have a goal of keeping the neck and shoulders, jaw relaxed. Inhale, arms float up to the ceiling. And then regather the work of the core as you float the arms down. And once you're down all completely, you can relax everything once again. Soft. Come into gravity. If you have your legs supported, we're going to come off of the support now so that we can get some length in the front of the hips. I just need to check one thing with the recording. Sorry. All right, everything's working. And no fouls here. Alrighty. So beginning from this nice relaxed constructive rest pose, we're going to start to get some length in the front of the hips. You've heard me very often talk about increasing the strength of the hip extensors, the buttocks, the gluteals, and the hamstrings. So we're going to work on that specifically right now. As we do this, be mindful that we're keeping the upper body relaxed. So we don't bring tension in the body in order to increase strength. Tension is not the same as stability, although we often try to use it that way. Okay, let's inhale and prepare for the inner core. With the exhale, we gather the inner core muscles down, and this time I'd like you to draw your pubic bone towards your navel and feel your lower back go flat. This is the first time we're going into a flat back position. We're going to just pause like that for a moment. And then soften and release that. Be mindful of the front of the hips. You can even take your fingers here and try and soften as much as you can in the hip crease. We'll do that again. Inhale, prepare for the inner core. And with the exhale, we're going to gently gather the inner core and then add a pelvic tilt. And try to do that with the buttocks, the backs of the legs, and the rectus abdominis. No tension in the front hips. Maintain it for a moment. You can even press down into your heels a little bit to get a little more activity going in your back thighs. And then soften and release. And give into gravity, completely releasing. Relaxing in the neck and the jaw. One more time. Inhale, prepare for the inner core. Exhale, gather the inner core, and then take your pelvic tilt. Feeling that lower back draw down to the mat. Now we're going to keep it down and slide the right heel away. Only as far as you can go without your back coming up. So you may not get all the way out straight. Be more concerned with keeping that lower back down than getting the leg all the way straight. Notice the length that you've gotten across the front of the hip. Make sure you're relaxing your neck and shoulders and then slide the heel back in. And see if you can do that with a little tension into the floor with your heel, so use your hamstring. rather than your hip flexors to do the full back in. And relax everything. Soften. We'll do the other leg. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, gather the inner core, take your pelvic tilt, and then keeping the back flat, slide the left heel away, only as far as you can go with the pelvic tilt, staying in place. Check that you've got that, feel the length in the front of the thigh, and then slide back in. You can maybe put a little pressure in through your left heel to make sure your hamstring is working there, and then soften completely. If putting tension to the heel brings tension to the front hips, drop that piece. Right, compound heel slide. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, inner core, pelvic tilt, and slide the right heel away. We're going to keep the back flat. Breathe whenever you need to. Slide the left heel away. So both legs are straight. Back is flattened down. We're getting length in the front of the thighs. Keep the back down and slide the right heel back in, and then the left, and then relax and soften. We'll do the other side. Re-engage the inner core. Tilt the pelvis. Keep relaxed in the neck, shoulders, jaw, and slide the left heel away. Keep the back flat and slide the right heel away as well. Feel that length in the front thighs. Maintain it as you slide the left heel back in. Keep that length as you slide the right heel back in, and then relax completely and soften. Okay, now we're going to go into a pelvic lift. If you have a cushion behind your head, take that out. You can, depending on how thick the towel roll is, you can probably still do the pelvic lift with the towel roll. So we inhale and prepare for the inner core. With the exhale, engage the inner core. Take your pelvic tilt and then press evenly into your feet as you raise your hips up, rolling one vertebra at a time through the spine. Make sure that you keep your knees in line with each other. So you've got your all your leg joints in line. Feel that nice opening over the front of the hip, and then roll yourself back down. Keep maintaining the pelvic tilt so that the very last thing that releases is the pelvis down into neutral, and then relax everything. Notice if any tension came into the upper body. Let it go if it did. We're going to do it again. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, find the inner core. Take the pelvic tilt. Scoop the belly and roll yourself up. And then roll it right back down, scooping the belly and releasing the pelvis back down to the mat. And let everything go. Soften. One more time. Re-engage the inner core. Take your pelvic tilt and roll yourself up, pressing into the feet and finding the length in the front of the thighs. If your hamstrings are fine, not cramping, stay up for a moment. Really use the buttock muscles, press into your heels. If you need to release a little bit sooner, go ahead. I want you to find that length up the front of the body, and then check in with the shoulders, the neck, the jaw, the face, relaxed. And roll yourself down as you're ready. And then relax. Okay, we're going to take the arms up to the ceiling. Floating them up in vertical, the shoulders stay relaxed. Continuing to find as much ease in the neck and shoulders as possible. Do a couple alternate leg lifts. Now these are tricky because this is hip flexion, but we don't want to overstrain these superficial hip flexors. So still thinking as soft as we can be. It's not going to be utterly soft, but as soft as we can be in the front of the hip. And the way we're going to do that is by thinking of the thigh tilting rather than the foot lifting. You'll have a little bit, you'll be in closer to the center, and you can control that hip flexor a little bit better. Relax the shoulders, engage the inner core. We're going to keep the neutral spine. Feel your back ribs gently imprint, your front ribs knit together, and then think of tilting your right femur back in the socket to lift the right foot up. And lower it back down, keeping the pelvis neutral because your inner core is stabilizing it. Re-anchor, and then we're going to tilt the left femur back in the socket and lower the foot back down. Let's do that a couple more times. Re-engage in the core, and we're going to tilt thigh bone back. That will lift the foot and lower it back down. Keep the shoulders relaxed, the jaw, the neck, and re-engage around the inner core and tilt the left thigh bone back. And lower it back down. Let's do each leg one more time. Anchor. And take the right leg, tilt the thigh bone back, and lower it back down. And then the left side, engage in the inner core as soft as you can be in the socket, and tilt the left thigh back, and lower it back down. Now bring your hands like a karate chop onto the hip crease. We're going to do another pelvic lift, but this time not a rolling one, a hinging one. Your hinge is right in this hip crease. Soften as much as you can to begin. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, gather the inner core. Feel your ribs wrap around. Now activate your buttocks by pressing your feet down and hinge your hips up towards the ceiling. It's going to relieve the hip tension if there's any from the alternate leg lifts. Feel that length across the front of the hip crease, and then soften in the hip crease to come down. Release back down to the mat and relax. So that twice more. Anchor in the core, press into the feet, use your buttocks and your back thighs to raise your hips to the ceiling, keeping your neutral spine, and hinge back down. One more time. Anchor and hinge, and release. And soften there. If your lower back feels tight and you feel like you need to hug your knees or take a pelvic tilt, go ahead and do that. And relax the arms. Now I'm going to do something a little bit funny to release tension from the jaw. Don't worry, we are going to work hard a little later, but I want to try to get the body eased out before we do that. So, I'm going to work with the jaw. I'd like you to take your bottom teeth and thrust them forward of the top teeth. And then just place your lower jaw over towards your left side. Now, as you do that, see if you can look to the right side with your eyes. And at this point, your tongue should be right in the center of your mouth. Now bring your eyes back to the center, the jaw back to the center. Do you feel that stretch in the left jawbone? Let's do the other way. Slide the lower teeth over to the right side. And jet the lower teeth forward, and then slide to the right side, and let your eyes go over to the left. Keep breathing. Eye center, jaw center. Relax. There's another little variation we can try. Thrust the lower teeth forward and slide them over to the left. This time, let your tongue go over to your right molars, top right molars. And then come to the center, relax. And then the other way, jet the bottom teeth forward and slide them over to the right. And let your tongue come over to the top left molars. And then relax. Bring your hands up and just go to the base of the ears and pull down. Find that space underneath the ears and draw it down underneath your chin. And then relax. Okay, we're going to try the 100. This again, there's a lot of hip flexion here. So the more you can get in your core, the less you're going to stress your hip flexors. If your neck is tired, I'd like you to, if your neck gets tired when you do this, please do the exercise with a nice support behind your head so you can put your head down from time to time. And when you put your head down, if it gets tired, you're going to press gently into the support. So begin by engaging the inner core. Feel the back ribs imprint into the mat, the front ribs knit together. Lift the right foot up, and then the left foot up. I'm going to press the palms down and lift the head up. If you like, extend the legs out, and then exhale, begin pulsing the arms for 5 counts, and inhale for 5. Now, if your neck gets tired at any point, you're going to put your head down and gently press it down into the support. Inhale for 5, and exhale for 5. Inhale, and exhale. If you feel a lot of strain in your hip flexors, bend your knees. It won't totally relieve it, but it'll be a little bit less intense. Inhale, and exhale, and inhale, and exhale, and inhale, exhale, and one more set. Now bend the knees. Put your head down. You can either use the support or not, whatever feels good for your neck and head. I'm going to put one hand on each knee. Drop the knees out wide. Relax the legs completely. And start to stir your thigh bones around the hip joints. This is meant to relax your hip flexors. So we want to make sure that we're easy in the front of the hips. If your legs are holding themselves up, they're not going to be relaxed. The arms have to be holding the legs up. And then reverse, circle around. Okay, hug the knees, rock them side to side a little bit. You can turn your head slightly if you want. All right, we're going to do the leg circles. However, we're going to do a little different variation because we're going to take a pelvic lift and then do them. Hopefully your hamstrings and glutes are well warmed up. If it's too intense, if you get a hamstring cramp on the standing leg, come back down and do it with your hips down on the mat. My purpose here is that we're strengthening the back of the hip, and the hip flexion is a little bit less intense when you're up in a pelvic lift. So if it's possible for you to do the hip circles with the pelvic lift, then do. Otherwise, keep your pelvis down. So we're going to engage the inner core, feel your back ribs imprint, your front ribs knit, and raise your hips up towards the ceiling. And then keeping the hips up, we're going to lift the right leg and stretch it to the ceiling, and then circle it around 5 times. So we want the pelvis to be steady, and reverse. Nice strong stance on that left leg. Keep your left buttock working, your left back thigh working, of course your inner core working. Then we'll bend the knee and lower the right foot down, and then we're going to bring the hips down and relax completely. And then we'll do the other side. Engage in the inner core, imprint and knit. Take the hips to the ceiling. Prepare the right leg. We're going to stand on it as we lift the left foot up and extend the leg to the ceiling. Circle that leg around 5 times. Keep your shoulders relaxed. 5 times one way, then do 5 the other. And then bend the knee. Keep anchoring as you lower down the foot and then the pelvis. And then relax completely. Okay, we're going to go to the side now. And we'll start with our side plank. Side plank lets us, gives us a really good sense of strength in the buttocks as well as the obliques. So nice place to begin this work. I'm going to be supported on the left arm, left elbow underneath the left shoulder. Now I'm going to watch out for the neck tension here. If you start to get a lot of neck tension, just very gently put your molars together and feel the back of the head go back just a little bit. Let's take the right arm up towards the ceiling and engage the inner core. Feel an organ lift coming from the bottom waist to the top waist, and then lift your hips up. If you want, you can straighten out the right leg. So you've got a nice long line across the front of that hip, and then exhale, lower the right hand towards the floor, and inhale, lift it up. Open the shoulder. Exhale to lower, and inhale, lift. So notice the work on the outside of the left buttock. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Do that twice more. Exhale down. Inhale up. One more time. And lift and open. And then release. Now I'd like you to experiment with using some support under your head as we do the side kicks and the clamshells. Even if you don't normally, just check it out today to see perhaps it's going to be a good idea. So we're going to support the head and bring both legs out straight. Let the right arm come up towards the ceiling. Relax the neck, relax the shoulders, relax the face and the jaw. Engage the inner core and take an organ lift, and then we're going to raise both legs up. Now I want you to please pull your feet back and flex them really firmly. Keep the shoulder relaxed, then squeeze the toes tight and open them out wide. And squeeze them tight and open them out wide. And one more time, squeeze. Open out wide. Now we're going to go and point the toes. Reach your toes as far from the top of your head as you can. You want to feel your whole front leg lengthening down to the front of the ankle. Then flex back again and squeeze, and fan, squeeze, and fan, squeeze, and fan, and then lengthen again. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. One more time, flex it back. Keep that firm flex as you squeeze, and fan, squeeze, fan, squeeze, and fan. And point one last time. Lengthen down the front of the leg, down the whole front of the body. Relax the feet. Then we're going to lower just the bottom leg up and down for 5 times. And then we're going to take the top leg up and down for 5 times. If you need to bring your fingertips down in front of you, go ahead and do that. Now we're going to regather the inner core, and here's a chance to get some nice hip opening. We're going to go forward and back. The back leg, see if you can feel that length in the front of the leg as it goes behind you. And then bring it to the center and squeeze the inner thighs together. We'll lower both legs down. Now we're going to go into a 0-degree hip flexion clamshell. So we're keeping the thighs right where they are. Your legs are straight under you and just bending the knees. We're going to start to add the rotators into the situation. We're still using the hip extensors, trying to keep length at the front here, and now getting into the rotators as well. So we're going to stabilize the pelvis, roll the thigh out in the socket. We'll do 10. Check into the neck and shoulders, make sure they feel relaxed. When you're done, let's bend the knees just a little bit farther in front of you, coming to a 45-degree hip flexion. Relax your neck and shoulders. We're going to do some more neck exercises, so be sure you're in a comfortable position to begin, released. And then we'll begin by lifting the right ear towards the right shoulder, and then release it back down. And side bend the head, right ear to right shoulder, and lower it back down. Twice more. And relax. Let the whole body sink into gravity. And then turn your head to look up at the ceiling and nod the head. And bring your chin towards your right shoulder and lower it back down. And nod and release 2 more times. So you're going to feel a lot of work in the neck now. And release. One helpful thing towards releasing sometimes is contracting. All right. Last movement here, we're going to turn so your forehead's looking down at the floor, and then you're going to nod your nose forward. So you're nodding the back of your head towards your shoulder, and then bring it back down like you're tucking your chin under as you're looking at the floor. And again, nod the nose forward, and open up the front of the throat, and nod back down. Do twice more. And then turn the head into the center and relax. Just take the right arm off towards the ceiling and just let the humeral head settle for a moment. Relax the face, the jaw, the neck. The whole body sink into gravity and release the arm down to wherever it's comfortable. Okay, we're going to alternate internal and external rotation. So getting even more into the buttocks, we're using external rotation for to engage the external rotators, and then we're doing internal rotation to get some more glute action. So pelvis is stabilized. Use the inner core as you raise the knee up, and then lower the knee back down and raise your foot up. And alternately lift the knee and lower the foot, and lower the knee and lift the foot. Good, keep the pelvis steady. Internal and external rotation. Feeling your thigh bone roll around the socket. Do it 5 more times. Check in with the neck and the jaw. Face muscles soft. And then relax completely. Now for the 90-degree position, I'd like to use something, if you can find something like your towel, folded blanket, small ball, something between the knees. The pelvis is stabilized with the inner core, the upper body is relaxed. I'm going to press down into the support, whatever's between the knees. And I'd like you to bring your fingertips onto your hip crease. And we're going to try to keep this front hip as quiet as possible as we do these alternately pressing and unweighting the knee. So not a big range of motion here. Engage the core, press down into the towel, and see if you can keep it quiet in the front of the hip. If you can't, then try sliding your pelvis back just a little bit. And then we're going to continue to stay quiet in the front hip and unweight the knee. Don't think of it as a lift. Just bring it up a tiny bit. Just this small bit of movement can really get the buttocks working if you do it without using the hip flexors. Press down and then unweight. Keep it as quiet as you can in that front hip. So you see I'm barely moving, but I'm feeling a lot. Press down and unweight. Good, neck and shoulders still relaxed. Press down and unweight. Good, stay as quiet as you can. If you feel like a lot of activity in the front hip, let it go for a moment. Then do a couple more. Press down and unweight. If you're having trouble, you might try pulling back a little bit as you press down and slide forward a little bit as you lift up. Okay. We're going to take that support out and come on up into a mermaid sit. Put the right hand on the right foot and side bend. Soften here. Feel some opening in the left side. Let the right side go slack. Relax the neck. And then come up. And we're going to reverse in a twist, taking the right hand to the left knee. Turn around and look over your left shoulder. And keep turning the chest. Look to the right. If you like, you can drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. Do what feels good for the neck. Keep your shoulders down, chest open. And then bring the head back up. And come on out of your twist. I'm going to come down to lie on the right side. Oh, no, sorry, we're not lying down first. We're doing the side plank. So coming into position for the side plank on the right side. Right elbow directly under the right shoulder. Lift the left arm up. Engage the inner core. Take an organ lift from your bottom waist to your top waist. Lift yourself up, and if you like, straighten the left leg. So we've got length in the front left thigh, work in the right buttock. Slowly bring the hand down as you exhale, and back up as you inhale. Open across the front of the chest and even the front of the armpit. And reach up. Again, if there's tension in the neck, teeth very gently together, head slightly back. See if that helps. Bend the knee and come on down. Now, supporting the head, Now we're going to come to a straight leg position. Float the left arm up to the ceiling. Engage the inner core. Take an organ lift. Keep your shoulder relaxed as you lift both legs up. Check back in. No extra tension. Flex the feet back and squeeze them and fan the toes. Squeeze the toes and fan them. Squeeze, fan, and then point. Intense point down the whole front of the body. Shoulders still relaxed. And then flex back. Squeeze and fan the toes. Squeeze, fan, squeeze, fan, and point. Nice long reach. Soften the shoulder, lengthen the front of the thighs, the feet. One more time, flex back and squeeze, fan, squeeze, fan, squeeze, fan, and point. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. And then we're going to check that the shoulders relaxed and lift and lower the bottom leg 5 times. And then the top leg up and down 5 times. Now let's go forward and back. Feeling the length and the leg that's going back. The front of that leg that's going behind you. Opening the hip. Keep your pelvis still. Your back is stable. Your shoulders are still. And then come to the center. Both legs come down. We're going to go into a 0-degree hip flexion with the knees bent. So we've got the thighs staying still and bend the knees so that the feet come behind you. Arm wherever it's comfortable. I'm going to stay engaged in the inner core and the organ lift and do 10 times rolling the leg out in the socket. Feeling the length of the front of the left leg, reaching your knee away from your head. Feeling the work in the buttock. When you're done with those, bend the knees, 45-degree hip flexion. Basically just a comfortable side lying position. Relax, feel your head support, relax the neck and shoulders. Soften around the pelvis. And then, without engaging anything else, find your inner core first of all. Find the engagement around the pelvic girdle. Keep your shoulders relaxed, and we'll externally rotate, lift the top knee up, and then internally rotate, lift the foot up as the knee comes down. Good. Lift the knee, and then lower the knee. As you lift the knee, the foot goes down. As you lower the knee, the foot goes up. Good. Do it 5 more times. Be aware of the neck and shoulders. And let everything relax for a moment. Clear the deck, soften. I forgot to do the neck series. We'll do that right now. Okay. I'm going to bring the left ear up towards the left shoulder and lower back down. And again, side bend. Bringing your ear towards your shoulder, faces forward and lower down. And lift, left ear to left shoulder. Lower one more time. And relax. Now I'm going to turn and look at the ceiling. And nod the head so your chin comes towards your left shoulder and lower down. And nod. And release. Nod. And release. One more time. And soften. And then turn to look at the floor. And nudge your nose forward. Nod the head, back of the head towards the left shoulder, open the throat, and then come back down. Tuck your chin underneath. And slide the nose forward, nod back, and lower it back down. Check that your lower body's relaxed. Do it twice more. And the last one. And release. Now if you have a prop of some kind, I'm going to place that between the knees as we come to 90-degree hip flexion. So the knees and the feet at the front of the mat. Something between the knees. Relax the shoulders. I'm going to take the fingers on the hip crease and first of all check if it's relaxed even just as you're lying here. Soften as much as you can and try to keep it soft as you press down into the towel. And if you feel a big tendon pop out, you might try pulling back a little bit as you press. And then we're going to unweight the knee and lift it up towards the ceiling. And again, if you feel the tendon pop, perhaps it will help if you slide the knee forward when you lift and backwards when you press. But try to feel that the work is all centered in the buttock. You're hardly moving, really. But nice, intense work. Rolling out and rolling in. Keep it small. So again, as you press down, pull your top hip back a little bit. And as you lift up, slide your top hip slightly forward. And if the hip flexor really gets going like crazy, I just want you to stop and let everything go. And then you can do a couple more. Okay, and release. Let's come up to the mermaid sit. Left hand on the left foot. I'm going to reach the right arm up and over and side bend. Let the space come into the right side of the body. Relax the neck. Your head can be heavy here. And then come up. Spiral around so your left foot comes onto your right knee. Look over the right shoulder. And then reverse the head. Look over the left shoulder. If you like, you can drop your left ear towards the shoulder. See which position for the neck feels better. Less tension. And then bring the head up. And untwist. Just pivot on the mat. Float the arms out in front of you. Scoop the belly. Bring yourself very slowly down, moving through each vertebra as much as you can. Try to keep those heels down so we're getting length across the front of the body as we come down. Scooping the belly in, coming all the way down, and then taking a long stretch. Reaching your arms overhead, reaching the fingers from the toes. As you exhale, engage the core again. Draw your pubic bone towards your navel, flatten your back towards the floor, and feel your back ribs come down to the mat. Lengthen the whole front body. And then relax that. Now we're going to turn onto the stomach. If it's not comfortable for your head to be right on the mat, just take a small support. You don't want to use the whole big blanket, but you could just use like a little bit of the towel folded or unfold a blanket. So you've got a little support under the forehead if you need it. And you want it just to be under the forehead, not blocking the nose. So the first exercise is really tiny, small, and effective. We're going to lie on the belly with the hands right underneath your hip points. So just push the forehead down on the mat in front of you. Better to support the head up slightly than to turn it if you can manage that. Even weight dropping into both hip points. Engage the inner core. Keep that even weight dropping into the hips. Relax the upper body. Then we're going to unweight the right leg, keeping the pelvis even as the right leg comes up. Tiny bit. If you feel pressure going into your right hand, do it less. And lower that down. Keep even pressure into your palms.
Re-anchor and float the left leg up. One side might be easier than the other, but try to use your inner core. Gather. Don't let the pelvis move as you unweight. Keep the weight balance across the two hips. Lower down, and then the other side. Good, so we're using hip extension. In other words, we're using the buttocks and the backs of the legs, but not spinal extension. Trying not to use the low back muscles here. Alternating from side to side. When you're done with an even number on each side, relax. Now we're going to bring the hands underneath the forehead. And now we'll add some back extension. So legs are resting relaxed. Soften your front thighs as much as you can. And keep the elbows down. Gather the inner core and pull the ribs in. Legs passive. Float your chest and head up. Keep the movement small. And think of your shoulder blades going down into your back pockets. Make sure you don't jut your chin forward. Keep the legs relaxed. Open the chest. Draw the shoulder blades down to the back pockets. It's going to give you some relief for the neck muscles. And then relax back down and soften. Again, the legs passive. You got a nice passive stretch in the front thighs. Engage the inner core. Pull your ribs in. Keep your arms down. And lift the chest and the head. Draw the shoulder blades into the back pockets. Good. Feel the front of the throat open a little bit without the chin jutting forward. Notice the neck and the jaw. And release back down. Hopefully no tension or very little tension into the neck and jaw as you do that. Make it small if necessary. Let's do that one more time. Re-engage the inner core, the ribs together, the elbows stay down as we float the chest and head up. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. Good. So I feel open, released, relaxed around the neck. And lower back down. Now we're going to bring the arms to a cactus position. And turn the head. Look to the left. Engage your inner core. Pull your ribs in. Lift your head and chest up and raise your right leg up. Just a little bit. Good. And then lower back down. We're going to do that again. We're continuing to look to the left. Re-anchor in the core. Keep the pelvis down. Raise the chest and the head. Raise the right leg. Lengthen the front of the body. Little engagement in the neck. We'll release that in a second. One more time. Looking to the left as you lift. And release. Now turn the head into the center. Keep both elbows down on the mat. Re-engage your inner core. Both legs stay down as you lift the head and the chest. Draw your shoulder blades down the back. Open the breastbone forward. And release. Turn your head to the right side. Relax completely. Re-engage your inner core. Keep looking to the right as you raise the chest, the head, and the left leg up. And lower back down. Keep looking to the right. And again, lift, head, chest, left leg. Keep the head turned to the right. And release back down. One more time. And release back down. Turn the head into the center. Stretch both arms up overhead. Gently press your palms down. Raise your chest and your head. Draw your shoulder blades down your back. And release. Take it to a child's pose for a moment. And then engage your inner core. Pull your ribs in. Raise your arms off the floor and stand up onto the knees. Relax the arms down the front. Engage around your pelvis. Keeping the pelvis still, we're going to bring the left foot forward. Left ankle and knee in line. Let your neck and shoulders be soft.
Lift through the crown of the head gently, engage the inner core, and then draw your tail between your legs. Feel stretch in the front of the right hip. At the same time, be aware of the shoulders. Now we're going to keep stretching the front of the right hip. Shrug your shoulders up around your ears, and then drop them down and soften. Keep tucking your tail underneath you, and again, shrug your shoulders up around your ears. Keep tucking your tail, and then soften the shoulders down. Keep tucking the tail. One more time, shrug up. Keep tucking the tail, and relax the shoulders, and then release the pelvic tilt, and stand back up on both knees. Relax the shoulders, and bring the right foot forward. Right ankle in the inline, shoulders easy to begin with. Engage the inner core, then we'll tuck the tail between the legs. Start to feel that stretch in the front of the left thigh. We're going to keep the pelvic tilt going, and then shrug the shoulders up around the ears. Keep the pelvic tilt and relax the shoulders away from the ears. Soften the neck. And draw your shoulders up around your ears. Keep tucking your tail under. And soften and relax. Once again, tuck the tail, shrug the shoulders, and soften and relax the pelvic tilt. Step back onto both feet and come to all fours. Now we're going to get ready for our plank. The plank, nice long line through the whole front body, but don't bring tension into your neck and shoulders to do it. Use your inner core, reach the crown of the head and the soles of the feet away from each other. Let's bring the elbows down to the mat. You can interlace your fingers or keep your hands as wide as your elbows, whichever works better for you. And engage the inner core, pull your ribs in, get that contact through your forearms, and then straighten one leg at a time out and find your plank. As you're pressing down into your forearms, the top of your head's going forward, your soles of the feet are moving away from it.